This video is brought to you by AmerUSA.com, where you can screen tenants 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. In this episode, we will be discussing New Hampshire Landlord Tenant laws. The following is a summary of landlord tenant laws in the state of New Hampshire as they apply to residential rental property. Topics include disclosures, withholding rent, the right to enter, security deposits, eviction, increasing rent, and more. Required disclosures. Move-in inspection. A landlord must inform the tenant that if anything in the rental is discovered that needs repair, the tenant may note the item on the security deposit receipt or in any other written format. Security deposit limit. The equivalent of 1 month's rent may be charged for the security deposit unless the landlord and tenant share the rental property. Then there is no limit. It's important to note that New Hampshire's security deposit laws do not apply to landlords who own just one single-family rental property or occupy a unit in a 5-unit or less rental building. Security deposit receipt. Unless the tenant has paid the deposit by personal or bank check or by a check issued by a government agency, a landlord must provide a receipt stating the amount of the deposit and the institution where it will be held if the tenant pays in cash. Deadline for returning a security deposit. A security deposit must be returned within 30 days upon the tenant moving out. However, if the tenant and landlord share the property and the deposit is more than 1 month's rent, the landlord must provide a written agreement specifying when the deposit will be returned. If not, the deposit must be returned within 20 days. Late fees. There is no statute in New Hampshire for late fees, so the lease agreement would have to contain a late fee provision for it to be enforceable. Otherwise, the rent may be paid late without penalty until a termination notice is served. Increasing rent. On a month-to-month lease, a landlord must give tenants at least a 30-day written notice to raise rent or change any other term. Longer lease agreements cannot be increased unless the agreement itself specifically addresses raising the rent. Withholding rent. A tenant may withhold rent if the landlord fails to fix an issue affecting the tenant's health or safety. But before exercising the right to withhold rent, written notice must be given to the landlord, allowing 14 days to resolve the problem unless it's an emergency, which may be reasonably sooner. It's important to note that a tenant cannot use this as a means to delay rent that may be due during the 14-day period. Terminating tenancy and eviction. A 7-day unconditional notice to quit may be used for neglect or refusal to pay rent due upon demand. Also for substantial damage to the premises, failure to comply with the material term of the lease, behavior of the tenant or family members that adversely affects the health or safety of the other tenants, the landlord or representatives, and for any other good cause. A 30-day unconditional notice to cure or quit may be used by landlords who own no more than 3 single-family homes at any given time, and for any legal reason other than those listed for 7-day notices to quit. The right to enter. According to New Hampshire law, adequate notice must be given prior to entering the rental property. For more information, additional laws and articles can be found at AmericanLandlord.com.